Welcome to Heart Tales. Before we begin today's story, please take a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. I was selling hand-pressed breakfast burritos in an ultra-wealthy neighborhood when, out of nowhere, my ex-girlfriend stepped down from a sleek Lamborghini sports car. She raised an eyebrow with a subtle smirk, her eyes overflowing with mockery. "Looks like without me, your life hasn't turned out so great after all. If you beg me, I might just reconsider our relationship." However, when my best friend's kid called me dad, she froze dead in her tracks. You're married? Where's the mother? That woman is completely unreliable. How could she leave you to work while taking care of a kid all by yourself?" She paused, then continued, "All right, I'll be honest with you. I still have feelings for you. Get a divorce. I can be your rock, and I'll take care of both you and your kid." Wait, what on earth is wrong with her? It all started recently when a famous A-list celebrity got exposed in a dating scandal. Fans dug up an old video of her where a reporter asked, "If the top 10 richest people in the world came over for dinner, what would you serve them?" She replied, "Hand-pressed burritos, of course. They're everyone's ultimate comfort food." The video shot straight to the top of the trending searches within 6 hours. Now, what did hand-pressed burritos ever do to anyone? Getting on the wrong side of the burrito fan club was a huge mistake. As a diehard fan of breakfast burritos myself, I charged straight onto the internet to join the flame war. By pure coincidence, I stumbled upon an online community. The comment section was packed with like-minded enthusiasts, and the top comment was even left by a massive billionaire tycoon. Net worth in the billions, passionate foodie, making hundreds of millions a year. Yet my morning always starts with a hand-pressed burrito. Even high society can appreciate a good comfort bite, right? Sure, maybe breakfast burritos weren't given enough credit, but its fan base certainly wasn't smaller than that starlet's. Right then, a brilliant business idea flashed through my mind. Selling hand-pressed burritos in an ultra-rich neighborhood would definitely be a runaway hit. This pile of cash was mine for the taking. To think I had actually discovered such an untapped gold mine. Not only could I make a fortune, but I could also eat them for free, as many as my heart desired. No sooner said than done. That very afternoon, I bought a pushcart along with all the necessary ingredients. After testing everything out at home, I found the recipe remarkably simple, yet the flavor was absolutely delicious. My best friend and his wife happened to be away on a business trip, leaving their daughter in my care for a few days. As the child's godfather, I was more than happy to babysit, mostly because she was just so darn adorable. A cute little girl like her was guaranteed to be a real head-turner out on the street. "Bella, do you want to come help your godfather sell burritos this afternoon? I'll use the money we make to buy you a plushie." Her eyes lit up instantly, and she began hopping up and down with excitement. I do. Bella wants to go with Godfather. Mommy says my bedtime is 8 p.m., so we have to head home before 7:30. The evening peak hours ran from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Since nobody ever set up street stalls around the high-end gated community, I was taking a gamble, fully aware of the risk of being chased off by code enforcement. At first, foot traffic was slow, but nobody could resist Bella's overwhelming cuteness. Her sweet little voice was enough to melt anyone's heart. Mrs. Would you like to try a hand-pressed burrito? My godfather makes them super yummy." Whether it was because they adored Bella or because the aroma was simply irresistible, customers started trickling in, eventually forming a neat, long queue all on their own. I became so slammed that my hands were a complete blur, while Bella thoughtfully held up the QR code display for customers to scan and pay. Payment received, $20. I called out to the pretty girl standing at the front of the line. "Excuse me, miss, you overpaid. Let me refund you $10. "No need. That extra bit is a tip for Bella. Besides, these burritos are delicious. I'm so glad someone is finally selling them around here. Normally, I have to drive 6 miles all the way to the night market on the west side just to get one." That was the moment I learned that rich folks tipped, too. Sure enough, the customers who followed all left tips. Some even scanned a full $100. On the outside, I maintained a cool, composed expression, but inside, I was absolutely thrilled beyond words. When I served the final customer in line, she took a bite and exclaimed in pure delight, This is the exact flavor. Handsome, you have to come back and sell here tomorrow. Don't worry, miss. As long as I don't get kicked out, I'll always be right here. Oh, as for code enforcement, we'll handle them for you. By the way, Handsome, can I get your contact info? I'll add you to our neighborhood chat group. I couldn't hide my inner excitement. This entire neighborhood was packed with wealthy elites. Wouldn't that mean I'd be networking with high-net-worth individuals right off the bat? Sure, no problem. After finishing her burrito, she asked for 2 more to go. Once I finished her order, there were only 2 burritos left. I figured Bella and I would each have 1, and then we'd pack up and call it a day. Just as I was getting ready to grill the pastries, a smooth, gentle voice drifted over. 1 hand-pressed burrito, please. The voice felt both intimately familiar and strangely distant. I looked up and met a pair of clear, deep eyes that resembled still autumn waters. Sure enough, it was her, Lillian, my ex-girlfriend. I remembered that she used to hate street food. After 3 years apart, her features had grown even more radiant, stunning, and effortlessly gentle. Her pristine white maxi dress highlighted her elegant, soft grace. She stepped up in front of me, raising an eyebrow slightly, her tone dripping with subtle disdain. Well, looks like without me, your life hasn't turned out so great after all, has it? I took off my gloves and turned my back to her to fix my hair. Facing an ex, one had to present oneself neatly first and foremost. Seeing that I didn't answer, she grew even more smug. Begged me, and I just might reconsider our relationship. Bella, who had been playing with her plushie nearby, ran straight over and stood in front of her, her voice innocent yet fiercely protective. You meanie, don't bully my daddy. Lillian stiffened slightly, then knelt down to speak to the little girl, her tone softening considerably. Little girl, how old are you? Not wanting her to interact with Bella, I picked the child up and prepared to leave. I'm 3. Bella held up 3 fingers right in front of her face. At that moment, Lillian froze completely, her refined brows knitted tightly, her eyes welling up with tears. You got married? Where's the mother? That woman is so irresponsible. How could she leave you working late at night like this, taking care of a kid all by yourself? She paused, then continued, All right, I'll be honest with you. I still have feelings for you. Get a divorce. I can be your rock and take care of both you and your child. Wait, what on earth is wrong with her? I set Bella down and she quickly grabbed onto my hand tightly. Lillian, we broke up long ago. Please let go and show some boundaries. No, I won't. As we were at a standstill, a group of code enforcement officers stepped over. Hello, sir. We are with city management. Street vending isn't allowed here. Please pack up and leave immediately. Understood. I'll pack up right away. Finally, Lillian let go. She silently helped me pack up my gear. By then, it was already 7:30 p.m., and I was frantically trying to figure out how to get home on time. Lillian spoke up. I'll drive you 2 home. Sitting inside her luxury Lamborghini, I held Bella tightly in my arms, not daring to move a muscle for fear of damaging something I'd have to pay for, something a lifetime of hard work wouldn't be enough to cover. She glanced at me and let out a soft laugh. There's no need to be so tense. I shot her an annoyed glare. Once we got home, I asked Bella, Sweetheart, why did you call me daddy back there? Because I could tell that lady was mean, so I did it to help you. Lately, my mom had been constantly arranging blind dates for me. But since I was strongly against the idea, I often asked my best friend if I could bring Bella along to crash them. Whenever I ran into an unpleasant date, Bella would pop out and call me daddy, which had successfully helped me ward off over a dozen blind dates so far. However, this was the very first time I had ever met someone like Lillian, who was actually willing to step up as a stepmother on the spot. After coaxing Bella to sleep, I finally headed into my study to write. By trade, I'm a web novel author who usually prefers staying indoors to focus on writing. Suddenly, my phone kept buzzing nonstop. Turns out, it was a message from the customer who had added me on WeChat earlier. She invited me to a group chat named Secrets. Upon joining, a barrage of free perks rained down. I used to think these wealthy folks only cared about practical matters, but who knew they were into web novels too? The group had over 40 members, all die-hard fans of breakfast burritos. Warmest welcome. Wishing you great fortune and prosperity. They showered me with over a dozen red envelopes, leaving me completely speechless with surprise. I had already made $2,300 today, $2,000 of which were tips from them. "Hey, handsome burrito guy, why so quiet?" I replied. "The group is full of big bosses, so I'm feeling a bit nervous." "What big bosses?" "We're just the kids of the people you call big bosses. Don't worry, we're all around the same age. Lillian is the real big boss here." "Gosh, she's in this group too?" Now I definitely don't dare to say anything. "Handsome burrito guy, what time are you setting up tomorrow?" I answered. "I just got chased off by code enforcement today, so I probably shouldn't risk it." "Don't worry about code enforcement. We'll handle them for you." "All right then. I'll be there at 5:30 p.m. "Handsome burrito guy, what's your name? Do you have a girlfriend?" Lillian immediately interjected in the chat. "He already has a 3-year-old child. But isn't she just a goddaughter?" "Sis Lillian, why are you so interested in his private life?" The very next second, I received a friend request from Lillian. But naturally, I didn't accept it. Years ago, I had made a promise to her father that I would never cross paths with her again. The following afternoon, I set up my stall. A long, orderly line of customers quickly formed to buy my burritos. Standing right at the very front was Lillian, holding a cute plushie in her hands. "Sis Lillian, you never liked street food. How come you're here even earlier than the rest of us today? Could it be that you've got your eyes on our handsome burrito guy?" her close friend teased, though her joke hit surprisingly close to home. "You guys have no idea. Sis Lillian and I went to the same university. Our handsome burrito guy is actually her ex-boyfriend." The surrounding crowd looked as if they had just uncovered a mind-blowing secret, their excited expressions making the scene all the more intriguing. Lillian handed the plushie she was holding to Bella, who happily wrapped her arms tightly around it. After finishing her burrito, Lillian sat and played with Bella for a while. A few onlookers snapped photos of the scene and uploaded them straight to the group chat. "This is giving total motherly vibes. What? Is this Sis Lillian's secret child? Turns out Sis Lillian actually has a boyfriend." Huge gossip drop. Her ex is the handsome burrito guy, not some celebrity crooner. I didn't even have time to check all these wild gossip messages, staying slammed with orders all the way until 7 p.m. Even though I was completely sold out, Lillian still hadn't left. When I finally opened the group chat, I noticed over 999 messages had been recalled. "Bella, sweetie, let's head home." "Godfather, can this lady play with me a little longer?" "No, sweetie, it's almost your bedtime." Lillian let out a cheerful laugh and lifted Bella high up into the air. "How about I drive you two home? I'll play with you again next time." I originally intended to turn down her ride, but she insisted so relentlessly that it felt as though she wouldn't let us leave unless we accepted. Rejecting her any further would have been awkward, so I eventually agreed. When we arrived home and I opened the car door, she called out to me, her tone relaxed and natural. "Dylan, hurry up and accept my friend request on WeChat." Her words instantly brought me back to the very first time she asked me out. "Dylan, will you be my boyfriend?" "We'll see," I blurted out hastily before picking up Bella and walking away. The moment I stepped inside the house, my editor called, her voice overflowing with unsuppressed excitement. "Dylan, my guy, an entertainment company wants to buy the rights to your book. Love on the Wind is getting adapted into a web series. We're about to be rich." "Really? Which company is it, sis?" "It's Celestial Entertainment. Come by the office tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep tonight." "Will do. Will do." This was my debut novel, and I never expected it to be adapted into a live-action web series. I immediately searched online for information about the company, but what I found gave me an instant chill. Turns out, this company was a subsidiary under Lillian's family domain. I couldn't help but wonder if her buying the rights came with personal motives attached. I tossed and turned all night, unable to tell whether it was from sheer excitement or nervous anxiety. Early the next morning, after rushing to drop Bella off at kindergarten, I headed straight for my publishing agency. My dedicated editor, Violet, was both gorgeous and kind-hearted. She had given me immense encouragement throughout my writing journey. Without her, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. "Dylan's here. Violet is waiting for you in her office." Morning, Dylan. I heard your novel is getting adapted into a web series. Congrats. Congratulations. Thanks, Sis Coco. The atmosphere in the company was fantastic. No one was jealous or resorting to petty sabotage against each other. That was precisely why I chose to work here in the first place. Inside her office, Violet was helping me review the contract. Dylan, I've gone over these contracts for you, and everything looks solid. Take a look for yourself. Someone from the company will accompany you over to Celestial Entertainment in a bit. You'll need to negotiate the rest of the collaboration with them directly. Got it, sis. Also, that new historical novel you just posted blew up on our promo channels. Keep up the great work. If you run into any issues, just come talk to me. Thanks so much, Sis Violet. I followed Violet to Celestial Entertainment. Their company was massive. An entire office building belonged exclusively to them. Lillian's assistant was assigned to receive us. Ms. Lillian is waiting for you in the 26th floor conference room. When I pushed open the conference room door, I saw Lillian sitting on the sofa, holding a book with a light blue cover. The four large words, "Love on the Wind," were plainly visible. In an instant, I felt so utterly embarrassed I wanted to dig a hole and crawl right in, cringing hard enough to toe curl a whole 3-bedroom apartment into existence. Lillian didn't seem surprised by my appearance at all, which meant she truly knew that I was Sweet Tangerine, my pen name. Ms. Lillian, it's a pleasure. Everyone stepped up to shake her hand one by one. When my turn came, I froze on the spot. Violet gave my back a gentle nudge, forcing me to extend my hand. Lillian gripped my hand firmly and held it for a long moment. So long that even Violet seemed to start suspecting something was up. I was so tense my palms began to sweat. Celestial Entertainment went all out, bumping the price up to $350,000 to purchase the rights to the book. Lillian signed the contract without a moment's hesitation, making the entire collaboration smooth and effortless. However, she suddenly added a condition that caught me completely off guard, making my right eye twitch uncontrollably. Please go ahead, Ms. Lillian, I replied nervously. Some of the book's content isn't entirely suitable for adaptation, so we'll need the original author to adapt it into the screenplay. If we move fast, we can start filming by the end of this year. She offered a soft smile before continuing, one more thing. The lead role must go to an artist signed under my company. That's no problem at all. Violet chimed in immediately, giving my back a gentle pat. Sweet Tangerine would be more than happy to act as the screenwriter. Lillian looked at me with a deeply meaningful gaze. Is that so? Left with no choice, I nodded helplessly. In that case, welcome aboard, Sweet Tangerine. You start working at our office starting today, Lillian said, her face practically radiating smug satisfaction. Wait, what? I blurted out in utter disbelief. To boost your editing efficiency, you'll be working directly out of our company office. I already have a job. I object. I protested instantly. It's fine, your work can easily be done here too, Lillian replied with a calm, amused smile. I shot Violet a frantic look, desperately begging for help. But she merely offered a gentle smile and a look that clearly said, Good luck, you're on your own. If I had to work inside an office building here, I'd much rather stay home where I had total creative freedom. Once everyone had left, I immediately texted Violet. Sis Violet, you're gonna lose me if you do this. Loudly crying face. She replied almost instantly. Relax, Ms. Lillian isn't going to eat you alive. By the way, did you two know each other before? I noticed the way she looked at you was practically overflowing with affection. It was hilarious. I felt like Lillian was far more likely to murder me than adore me. After all, I was the one who had dumped her back in the day. Sis Violet, I seriously think you need an eye exam. She's my ex-girlfriend. It's way more likely she wants to destroy me. Oh my goodness, you actually dated a top-tier boss lady? Is that why the female leads in your books are all modeled after her? No wonder Ms. Lillian felt so familiar. Love on the Wind. To be completely honest, I had modeled the story after Lillian. More accurately, it was based on our past relationship. That was precisely why seeing her read the book earlier made me feel so intensely flustered and embarrassed. What are you two chatting about? Time to get to work. Lillian's voice suddenly cut in as she stepped closer to me. My heart started hammering against my ribs like a drum. In my panic, I forgot to hide my phone, and she caught a full glance at my chat history with Violet. Lillian stared at me with a half-smile, her expression utterly smug. So, I was the model. I scrambled to cover it up. No, don't be so full of yourself. All right, I'll stop teasing you. Come work in my office. Lillian's private office was massive. She had already set up a dedicated workspace for me, complete with a brand-new, top-of-the-line computer. Leaning one hand on the desk, Lillian looked at me with a dead serious expression. I think the ending needs to be changed. Why can't the male and female leads end up together? When I was originally writing the novel, I had drafted 2 different endings before ultimately settling on the tragic one. Readers had constantly begged me to write an alternate side story where they ended up together because they were such a perfect match. Her words were explicitly about the characters in the book, yet it felt as though she was talking about the two of us. Whether they're a good fit or not isn't up to you to decide. Listen to me, the ending has to change. I've seen the reader comments, and the most requested outcome is for them to be together. Besides, this current breakup scene feels way too forced. Let me rewrite it first. Half an hour later, I had revised the first 10 scenes according to her requests. As a result, Lillian simply claimed it was still too stiff and dismissed my work entirely. She picked up the script and began reading aloud. Lillian gently raised his chin, her gaze as deep as a bottomless abyss. Why can't we be together? Don't you feel your heart racing for me? Hearing Lillian perform that scene live made my cheeks burn hot. Strangely enough, an ordinary scene from a novel suddenly carried such heavy emotional weight now. I nodded, remaining silent. It felt as though everything was shifting back to the time when we were still together, those long-buried memories rushing back like a massive tidal wave. The emotions have to feel authentic, Lillian continued, her tone growing a bit more serious. This scene needs to convey the inner turmoil between reason and desire. It can't feel forced, she emphasized, her eyes shining with passion. Yeah, I understand, I replied, trying my best to regain my composure. But is an ending like that really right for the characters? Maybe not, but if they don't end up together, what makes the story memorable in the first place? Lillian threw the question back at me, leaving me hesitating. Her words forced me to reflect on everything that had transpired between us. Then, that sultry, intoxicating voice echoed once more. Darling, do you like little Lillian? She read the exact line straight out of my book. It was so intensely embarrassing that I genuinely wanted to find a hole in the ground and crawl straight in. This scene is still a bit too stiff. How about we practice it a little? Before I could react, a slender hand gently lifted my chin, while her other hand wrapped tightly around my waist. I was so tense I didn't even dare to breathe. My heart skipped a beat, and my mind went completely blank. My fingers gripped the hem of my shirt tightly as her almond-shaped eyes gazed down at me affectionately, as soft and gentle as a spring lake. I closed my eyes, not daring to look straight at her, terrified that I would fall into her love trap all over again. Just a second later, Lillian burst out laughing and let go of me. Feel anything? I nodded absent-mindedly, until I finally processed what she had just said. I cursed internally. Get out of here. Only then did my heart rate return to normal. Now that you've got the feel for it, go edit it, Lillian said. Flesh out the main character's emotions and psychology in a bit more detail. Inside my head, inspiration began surging forth like a roaring flood. Safe to say, practical exercise really does sharpen one's craft. I returned to my workstation and resumed editing. Lillian's assistant brought me a generous spread of fruits and snacks. Even lunch was ordered by her assistant, and every single dish happened to be one of my personal favorites. Even after 3 years, Lillian still remembered all my favorite foods. Having worked through the entire morning, I still felt a lingering sense of awkwardness being able to work so harmoniously alongside my ex in the exact same office. After finishing lunch, Lillian suddenly turned to me with a look of utter seriousness. Can you tell me the real reason why we broke up back then? I stayed silent, offering no response. I had made a promise to her father that I would never tell her. Our social statuses were worlds apart. There was never going to be a happy ending for us. Then can we get back together? Please, just give me one more chance. Seeing her show such a vulnerable side, I truly didn't have the heart for it. She was, by nature, someone who belonged to high society. Ms. Lillian, once this project is wrapped up, let's not see each other anymore. Her eyes instantly flushed red. She lowered her head and said nothing. Back in university, Lillian was the universally acknowledged campus belle. She was drop-dead gorgeous, came from a prestigious family, and excelled academically. Countless guys harbored secret crushes on her, and I was no exception. Yet, we rarely interacted. That was until our junior year, when a mutual friend threw a party. During a game of truth or dare, she drew a dare card. Pick a guy in the room and date him for a month. She chose me. Even knowing it was just a game, my heart burst with uncontainable joy. When the month came to an end, she officially confessed her feelings. Lillian admitted that she had liked me for a long time, and that the dare setup was something she had planned all along. In the innocence of my youth, I genuinely believed that two people who loved each other would inevitably end up together, regardless of background or status. Then came graduation, and her father came looking for me. The scenario unfolded just like a scene straight out of a cliché drama. He arranged to meet me at a coffee shop. Here's $1 million. Leave my daughter. When I plainly refused to break up, he pivoted. You're only going to bring her suffering. He had already mapped out a plan for her to study abroad alongside the young heir of the Lamb family. But because of me, she had given up the opportunity. My meeting with her father ended on a bitter note. After graduation, during my very first month on the job, I took my first paycheck and brought my grandmother for a medical checkup. She hadn't been feeling as well as before. When I picked up the medical report, it felt as though my entire world had collapsed. Staring back at me in bold, unforgiving letters was the diagnosis: mid-stage liver cancer. I tried to comfort myself, rationalizing that at least it was caught relatively early and there was still time for treatment. But the moment I thought about the astronomical medical expenses, a wave of pure helplessness washed over me. Without money, I couldn't even afford to have my grandmother admitted to the hospital. My grandmother and I had relied on each other to survive for as long as I could remember. My mother had passed away due to childbirth complications when I came into this world, and my father, unable to cope with the devastation, drowned himself in alcohol until he passed away shortly after. My paternal side shunned me as a jinx, blaming me for the deaths of my closest family members. My maternal grandmother was the only person willing to raise me, but with my pride pushed to the absolute brink, I had to do whatever it took to raise the money. I took the initiative to reach out to Lillian's father. Does your offer from last time still stand? He let out a contemptuous laugh. Of course. Pleasure doing business with you. With that, he handed me a card, hoping I would never bother his daughter again. The moment I received the money, I immediately arranged for my grandmother's hospital admission and surgery. When she asked where the money came from, I lied and told her it was donated by kind-hearted strangers in the community. Tragically, my grandmother's surgery was unsuccessful. The doctor explained that she was simply too advanced in age to endure it. Not long after, she passed away as well. After quitting my day job, I became a full-time author. I eventually sold the rights to 2 of my novels, allowing me to fully repay the tens of thousands of dollars to Lillian's father. As for the rest of the money, aside from paying my grandmother's medical bills, I had never touched a single cent. In my free time, I started selling iced drinks and pastries. One day, while selling snacks in a wealthy neighborhood, I happened to run into Lillian, an entirely unexpected twist of fate. Sis Lillian, I came to visit you. I absolutely despise being interrupted while working, so my brows unconsciously knitted together. A blond guy wearing an expensive suit barged into the room. The assistant hurriedly apologized. I'm so sorry, Ms. Lillian. I couldn't stop him. Lillian stopped writing and said, It's fine. You may step out. The young heir happily walked over to Lillian, holding an insulated thermal bag. Sis Lillian, I made this for you myself. Only when he reached her desk did he finally notice me. Sis Lillian, who is he? He glared at me with hostile, unfriendly eyes. Austin, please leave. Turns out he was Austin Lamb, the very same heir of the Lamb family who was supposed to study abroad with Lillian years ago. Sis Lillian, I had a 5-star chef prepare this soup for you. Just try 1 spoon, and I'll leave right away. Austin, I've already had lunch. Take your food and leave. Stop disturbing my work. The young heir grew red-faced with anger. How could you treat me like this? I'm your fiancé. Hearing those words felt like a dagger straight to my heart, a sharp ache catching in my throat. As he walked out, he didn't forget to shoot me a look of pure resentment. She's not his fiancée, I whispered to myself, trying to calm the storm inside. After a long day of work, I finally finished revising the manuscript. Unlocking my phone, the group chat notifications were back at 9:99 plus again. Where's your burrito stall? Dylan, it's already 5:30. Why aren't you out here selling yet? I had completely forgotten about it. Sorry, everyone. I've been busy the past few days, so I won't be able to open the stall. No breakfast burrito. Is anyone heading to the night market on the west side? Who can grab one for me? I can't survive without my burrito. I shook my head helplessly. Every single one of them was a dramatic actor in their own right. Lillian stood up and turned to me. Let's go. Dinner's on me tonight. No need. I have to pick up Bella from school and head home for dinner. Then let me drive you to pick her up. Bella was thrilled to see Lillian and begged me to let her stay for dinner, clasping her little hands together in the most adorable plea. My heart softened, and I agreed. With the script revisions nearly complete, the casting list came out. Lillian's company had assigned Austin to play the male lead. I had no idea Austin was even an actor. You mean Austin gained traction in the entertainment industry entirely because of his ties to Ms. Lillian? Violet nodded and whispered to me. Even though Ms. Lillian isn't an artist herself, her prominent family background and stunning looks have made her quite famous in the industry. Plenty of young actors and influencers are desperate to get close to her. Today marked the final completion of the project. Lillian asked to meet me privately to talk. Ms. Lillian, let's keep this strictly about work. About the reason we broke up back then. I already know everything, she began softly. I cut her off. Ms. Lillian, I'll say this one last time. I am only here to discuss work. Working together over these past few days has been a pleasure, but I hope we won't cross paths again in the future. With that, I quickly turned and walked away, terrified that if I stayed even a second longer, she would notice the tears welling up in my eyes. As I stepped out of the building, I received a phone call from Mr. Vance, Lillian's father. He arranged to meet me at the exact same coffee shop from years ago. When I arrived, he stood up with a warm smile to greet me. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the bank card, and set it on the table in front of him. Sir, I'm returning this money to you. Instead of taking it, he reached into his jacket, pulled out a different card, and pushed it toward me. Take this card if you agree to stay by my daughter's side. I listened in complete disbelief, utterly unable to comprehend what he was trying to do. He reached out to take my hand, but I instinctively pulled back. Back then, it was my fault, and I've deeply regretted it ever since, he spoke sincerely. I shouldn't have used such methods to force her away from you. Now, all I want is for you to be with my daughter. Sir, I really don't understand what you mean. Lillian is a deeply sentimental girl. She only loves you. Ever since she found out I was the one who broke you two apart, she's been so furious she tried to sever ties with me completely. Saying all this to me is meaningless now. Please take this card back. There is nothing left between us. With that, I picked up my bag and left. Behind me, Mr. Vance stood with his head bowed in painful remorse. In truth, I didn't entirely hate him. On the contrary, I was immensely grateful to him for giving me that $1 million back then. Because of that money, I was able to cover my grandmother's medical expenses during her illness, granting her a few extra months of life. He had also shown me the harsh reality of our class divide. Lillian and I simply belonged to two completely different worlds. And two people who love each other don't always end up together. My best friend had just returned from his business trip and picked up Bella. My tiny apartment returned to its usual quiet stillness. To avoid running into Lillian again, I stopped selling burritos in the wealthy neighborhood altogether and spent my days working from home. I ate instant noodles when I was hungry and collapsed onto the bed when I was tired. Little did I know, my news had already spread all across the internet. When I posted a new update for my novel on the platform, a few readers left comments under my story. Are all those things trending online actually true? Just as I was about to message Violet to ask what was going on, my phone rang. It was her calling. Dylan, suspend your writing for now, and under no circumstances should you respond to anything online. What on earth happened? Have you not checked the trending searches on Weibo? I've been grinding away at my writing all day. I haven't even had time to look at my phone. Violet told me to check the Weibo hot search list. Right at the very top of the entertainment and culture section, a headline read, "Rising web novel author Sweet Tangerine Exposed." I tapped into it. The post featured forged chat logs claiming that back in university, I had harbored secret crushes on and seduced other people's girlfriends. I'll admit I was fairly popular during my college days, and plenty of people had confessed their feelings to me, but Lillian was the only person I had ever loved. The comment section was in a total frenzy. How can someone like this even write novels? The people reading his books must have zero moral compass. Who even forms the audience for his stuff anyway? I honestly don't get it. Childish writing. I couldn't even stomach the first chapter. I heard it's getting adapted into a web series. Are web dramas really that easy to make these days? Just as I was about to exit Weibo to discuss a clarification strategy with Violet, another trending topic caught my eye. Scumbag Sweet Tangerine, second to none. Seeing that headline, an ominous feeling washed over me. My fingers trembled uncontrollably as I tapped on the post. Web novel author Sweet Tangerine dumped his girlfriend for $1 million. His girlfriend was deeply traumatized. He would stop at nothing for money. The person she loved turned out to be nothing more than a bargaining chip traded for cash. Even if it was for $1 million, that was the undeniable truth, a reality I couldn't refute. The insults from netizens grew increasingly vile, devolving into full-blown character assassination. Violet told me to take a few days off and refrain from responding online for the time being. Ironically, it was also a prime opportunity for my books to gain massive traction. People flooded my social media platforms just to hurl abuse. Some netizens even managed to find my home address and sent threatening letters. For several days straight, I lived in a living nightmare. Having somehow obtained my personal phone number, Lillian called to comfort me. "Dylan, I'm so sorry. I was away on a business trip and only just saw the news. I'll take care of everything for you." I opened Weibo. Sure enough, every single trending topic related to me had been pulled down, and all the slanderous comments had been scrubbed clean. Austin asked to meet me in person. He didn't look like the generous, handsome young heir I had remembered. Smart as you are, you've probably guessed that I was the one who pushed you onto the hot search list these past few days, right? I had suspected my colleagues, but I had never suspected him. I had pegged him as nothing more than a spoiled, rich kid without a scheming bone in his body. Why did you do it? Because of Lillian. Framing someone like that is illegal. Because I saw your photo on Sis Lillian's phone wallpaper. What kind of magic spell do you even have on her to make her like you so much? Do you think I won't hold you legally accountable? Just wait for my lawyer's letter. There's no need. Sis Lillian already called me. She broke off the betrothal between our two families. She said if I don't apologize to you in person, she won't let the Lamb family off the hook. My dad chewed me out over this too. And this is your idea of an apology? The young heir looked visibly awkward. This is my first time apologizing to anyone. Give me a moment to prepare. I stared at him calmly. I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. I'll make a public clarification statement. But whether you forgive me or not, I couldn't care less. Is that how you apologize? I don't accept it. Dylan, don't make things so hard for me. Fine, I'm sorry. I'm giving Sis Lillian back to you. But if you ever make her unhappy, I'll come right back to compete with you. The young heir's face flushed bright red. He truly had been pampered his entire life. I decided to mess with him a little. I'm still not satisfied. I'm sorry. I was wrong. His voice boomed so loudly that customers at surrounding tables all turned to stare at us. It really was quite a strain on the young heir. I forgive you, but the clarification on social media needs to be thorough. If it isn't to my satisfaction, you can still expect my lawyer's letter. Austin knew he had truly stirred up massive trouble this time, and not even his father could protect him, because Lillian was ready to go after the entire Lamb family business. When his father found out, he was beside himself with rage, unable to refrain from physically disciplining the son he had always doted on. Having come to realize the severity of the situation, Austin acted with incredible efficiency, quickly posting a formal apology on social media. My agency also helped me draft an official statement, clarifying that the $1 million used for my grandmother's medical bills had already been fully repaid. Lillian's father even went out of his way to set up a social media account specifically to repost the statement, taking the opportunity to publicly apologize for separating Lillian and me years ago. My comment section quickly overflowed with apologies. To show their support, many readers even ordered multiple copies of my books. I ended up benefiting quite a bit from this stroke of bad luck. My director called to let me know that the publisher couldn't print copies fast enough, so the platform had switched my book to a pre-order model. A fortnight later, Love on the Wind officially commenced filming, with the male lead replaced by a rising actor from the company. Austin withdrew from the entertainment industry entirely, returning to his lifestyle as a wealthy heir. After the opening ceremony, Lillian approached me. "Dylan, can you give me another chance to be with you?" I thought about it for a moment, then replied, "All right." She was so overwhelmed with joy that she threw her arms around me in a tight embrace. "I'm so happy." The day we reunited, and today, are the happiest moments of my entire life. Every day after that, Lillian prepared all kinds of dishes for me, claiming it was her way of courting me. In the group chat, her friends tagged me continuously. "Dylan, don't agree too quickly. Sis Lillian is getting way too smug. Now that you're back with Sis Lillian, are you still going to sell burritos? That foodie girl is going to starve to death without your burritos." Still loyal to the burrito life, a month later, Lillian officially became my girlfriend once again. She confessed softly, "In the 3 years after we broke up, I couldn't sleep soundly for a single night. I had to take sedatives every day just to fall asleep, and I'd wake up every morning to find my pillow soaked in tears. So, will you move in with me?" I secretly suspected she was embellishing the tragedy just to get me to move in with her, but since I had chosen to be with her, living together made sense. From then on, she posted on social media every single day to show off. "The breakfast my boyfriend made is delicious. The dress my boyfriend picked out for me is so pretty." The comments below were even funnier. "Sis Lillian's smile is so wide her mouth is practically hooked upwards. I bet Sis Lillian isn't going to change out of that dress all day." After 6 months of dating, we registered for our marriage certificate. I kissed Lillian gently and asked, "Do you know what sweet tangerine means? Because every time I share life's little moments with you, it feels like sharing a sweet slice of tangerine that spreads warmth right through our hearts. I'll nurture our love like caring for a citrus tree, giving it the best environment to grow strong through the years and bear the sweetest fruit. My wife, you are the most precious tangerine in my entire life. I will love you forever, and I will never leave. Love is like the wind, forever sweeping along with the drift."